Hey up. I wasn't sure really what to make this video on, so I'm just going to mess around a little bit. I think, if anything, I'm just going to take a few of these chords moving through the diminished and see what function I think they've got at this time. So get really comfortable with just a couple of the movements. So we'll start with the sixes rather than the major sixes rather than the minor sixes. We'll do B flat because that's the same as another kind of thing I'm doing. So let's think about what this is. This could be B flat, right? And at any point that could be a dominant, I suppose. I could kind of go down as well, I suppose. It's that note that's flat, isn't it? If we wanted to get to the F there, we could go. I mean, it's pretty cool that no matter how you slice it, they kind of line up. So if you go country motion, if you go similar motion, they line up really nicely. So, for example, if I'm here and here, let's think about two different notes in each hand. Let's do it the other way. I'm gonna have to use my brain for this, but now I feel like I'm going to C minor. No, so for me that feels like I'm going to the dominant, but it's just because I'm so used to this feeling like a dominant seventh. I'm so used to in my kind of music that feeling like a suspension that goes to there. I gotta remember, could easily just be that kind of thing too. Shouldn't do diminished to diminished, maybe. think about what key I'm in all the time. That's the problem. Goes to show how little I'm thinking about my key normally. So it's a D flat, which means I'm really in G. So which means it's the D natural I've got to think about. And it also means what? I've got this kind of I'm not really in D flat. I'm not really in G flat with this chord though, am I? It's like the dominant. I need to go to like... I need to do that, I think. And then I'm ready to go. It's very clever. So you've got... I could have arrived from this from like, I don't know. Let's go from A flat minor. So I need to think in A flat minor. And I can go to D flat. No. But then I've got to think. It's not that, it's that. Oh, because I'm in G flat at this point. So I could even pass through that now, so no. I'm just forgetting what to do now. I know what I'm gonna do. Hang on. I'm going to do a random key generator. So, one sec. Random scale generator, let's say. Right, so let's say, let's stick to major keys. So B major. Major keys, major sixes of that key, figuring out how to get from one key to the next. So I'm going to start each one off just with a little scale. And we've got to get from there to F. Now I've got to think carefully about F. So F, which means I need the 2 and the 5 and the 1, so G minor. It's pretty far away from that. So let's go to the tritone. That could easily be a... C. Oh, well, I mean, that'll do the job. If we can go for it straight from there to C. Alright. Let's try and do a 2-5-1 in each key then, so... Why does that not feel right? I've got... because I'm on the wrong chord, that's why. So F sharp. And the tritone is there. Going straight to C is bad. I'm going to F. See, I'm really bad at this still. I'm still learning, basically. I'm still learning. So we're in B. It's very that I don't think is a real thing in jazz. Oh, it is maybe. Maybe I'm just getting used to it. Now we've got to find our way to a G minor somehow. We can find our way to G minor through C. No, through D. Ah, maybe that's our way in. So we're going to F, B flat again. Alright, let's think tritones then. Oh, maybe it's easier than I thought, so G flat 7 will take us there too. Somehow. does that feel weird? It's that's why. Oh, because we need a C. Right, so that says G flat. Except it's not really, is it? See, how is that even remotely the same as... Oh. Tricky. Try and get moving contra motion, I always forget. That's really super close to a C sharp minus 7, a C sharp minus 6 as well. No, that's D flat. I get so mixed up. Let's start with an easier one. Let's go from D to G. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so D. Try and limit myself. No, let's do no minor sixes for now because it's too confusing. So. And then G. Let's do G separately and see if they share anything. And so the dominants are D is this. No, the tritone, sorry, I mean. And for G, they shouldn't line up, surely. Different tritones. So, that means I've got to think of another way around. We're starting on D. And what we need to get to G... Oh, it's just the D7, no? So it should be super easy, actually. Because now we can just start moving in G, right? Let's try and add the 2s in as well. So that would be an E in there. Yeah, even better. So no, the 2 is A. So that's like an A. It's not really remotely an A chord, but maybe what we can do is D chord? But that's not an A chord either, really. So this is what I mean. Where do I get the 2 from in this case? Say I needed to go through A. So say we're in G. No, say we're in D, sorry. And then we wanted to get from there to... Stop using complicated things. So we want to get to... Yeah, okay, right, so let me just do my normal 2-5-1s so I can remember how we go, so... We're in D first. Because now I should just be able to slide to A minor, right? So in that way I understand it, but I don't understand necessarily how to do it with all these diminished chords. Comfortably anyway. I think, let me do that again and I'll spot the moments where I could throw in some diminished and see what lines up. So we've got our D first. That's 1. So does that line up with either of our scales? Well, actually it doesn't matter if it does it at the start. Now I need to see A. So actually, that A minor one doesn't line up. So let's try a different way of doing A minor. What about? It's not really a thing, is it? So we were in D to start. We've got our. Then again, I understand this kind of route. We've got to get to A anyway. No, so maybe we can just go back to A but minor. But how do I do? How do I do? Well, I need to get rid of that C, don't I? Basically, that's really all that's going on. So if I'm in D, Right, let me just figure out what the hell I did there. So I'm on. I said I wouldn't use the minor ones, but I feel like it's nice here because we go kind of sustains us for all of that. And then I somehow need to just drop. So it's just connecting the dots. It's my brain is slow, basically. So to recap, what happens if I use the D7? Because that's not really. How long can I get away with just using this G? Not very long, no? The diminished six. So most of that was just switching my brain off, but I think I'm phasing in and out of understanding what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm just listening to the melody, and sometimes I'm playing random notes and then harmonizing afterwards, and sometimes I'm actually carefully trying to do that business. And I managed to find quite naturally in some places these kind of chords that resolve to wherever the hell that resolves. This is the problem. It takes me ages to see it, so it resolves to there, right? So it's still a work in progress, but this is why I've been focusing so heavily on the muscle memory stuff to start with, because I think once you start snapping to positions, you can rationalize it later, and then that is a virtuous circle that repeats. You can rationalize in advance, and then your fingers will find it, or sometimes your fingers will just find something. Like if you're playing, you turn your brain off and you go. Then you've already got something kind of modally in G, right? Like pentatonic. So I feel like the more muscle memory that you can develop, then, you know, your mind is not alone, basically. Your mind is not doing everything, your body is also doing it. And sometimes the best music comes out of using all of your body, so your mind working with your fingers rather than against it. So a lot of the time in practice, I'm forcing myself to shut my body down. So I'm thinking, I just really want to play stuff, you know, I want to play really fast, or I want to play really complicated stuff. But the work of practice is to internalize patterns for me. So I'm trying to internalize muscle memory. I'm trying to internalize kind of harmonic logic stuff. So it's been a combination of those two things. And then you still have to let yourself go occasionally and see what happens. So I was quite pleased with that. I've never actually been able to improvise that harmonically, I think, where the dissonances feel logical. So I'll try and remember how I used to play before I started this jazz odyssey, if I was trying to start an improvisation. Anyway, and it could continue on like that ad nauseum, But I guess the main difference is I'm trying to articulate. So I've stopped caring about whether things are correct when I'm just playing for myself like that. So I'm not sure if what I'm doing is technically correct, if the harmony is right, But I'm just letting myself be, at the piano. I'm trying to let myself just play. And, it's, if I get into trouble, it's kind of like, how do I say this without being pretentious? So, like, basically, it's like you can spend your whole time pretending to be someone that you're not and to try and follow lots of rules that other people have laid out, and kind of come across as doing everything right, but you're having to deeply kind of control your movement to make that work, and you're often not very happy when that happens, so you're like acting a part. And I see that as me, say if I'm trying to play something like... I'll only ever be able to approximate someone else's music, but I like to think all these rules that we have for music, those are people who didn't have to religiously follow rules. They weren't following their own rules. They were playing music that came out of them after many, many, many years and decades of acquainting themselves with the music around them and their instruments and what their ears liked and what their fingers could do and how they reacted to dissonance. And I think that's a big one, like how we naturally react to dissonance. So if I hear a dissonant chord, accidentally played a non-dissonant chord, it's more like a dissonant chord. What I'm automatically, because of my musical experiences so far, what I'm hearing is a note at least one note that needs to be resolved. That D sharp needs to be resolved. But I know for a fact there are people out there who wouldn't hear that as dissonance and would hear that as something consonant to build on, to find something even more dissonant, to bounce off. Let's say that's our consonant chord. I'm going to struggle to find anything more dissonant because this isn't really how I think of music, so... just something awkward, For me, that's a dead awkward chord. And let's add an extra layer of awkwardness. That, right? Suddenly, that doesn't feel so dissonant, right? And you may not have that urge to resolve that anymore. At the end of the day, it's all colour, and kind of colour is subjective. This is colour, this is colour, this is colour, so is this. They're all just different kind of colours. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you can either learn all of this stuff painstakingly for many years and choose never to be yourself, whether that's in music or in anything else. You kind of learn the ropes and you still choose that you're not brave enough to show yourself. Or you just say, I've methodically learnt this stuff because I want to understand it, and then absorb it into what I'm already doing. And I think that's my goal with learning the jazzy stuff. It's to take away what already gels with what I like. I'm not searching for a way to become a great jazz pianist who follows all of the jazz rules and standards and kind of pushing the boat out in a new direction that is totally valid in the eyes of jazz pianists or whatever. What I'm really doing this for is because I like to learn and because I'm hoping that I can kind of absorb something that will help my own improvisation. But in a way where it's non-toxic, where I'm not thinking, I didn't quite find that right 6th or 7th or something. The end goal is to be non-judgmental about my own playing. And that's why I practice so much, in a way, because I want to allay any fears, deep down fears, that I'm not working hard enough, and it's my fault for being kind of lazy or something. So I'm trying to work as hard as I can with the time that I've got to familiarize myself with as much as possible and to get as good as I can at lots of different parts of piano music, and then kind of one day just let it all go and be happy that I've done the work and happy that I've got the skills to do whatever I'm doing, So it's quite late, so probably doesn't make much sense, that ramble. But, it's... you have to ask I think any musician has to ask themselves, why do you do that? Why do you do this? What are you doing it for? Where's the balance? Because I think there's no one answer to that. There's a balance of answers that is true for everyone. So I think part of it is kind of, we love music. I know for certain that I listen to music often and I get that kind of chill sensation, where it's like, whoa, that's so good that it just kind of hits you in a way that nothing else can. I definitely get that with other people's music. And what I want to do is write music and improvise music or play other people's music in a way that kind of can create that for someone else. I kind of want to pass that on, that chill, and I feel like I'm probably not there yet, but that's kind of the way that's kind of my goal for the standard I want to be at in my writing, my improvisation, and my playing. I want to be able to play in a way that kind of gives people that feeling. It's like, the music's so good that it just hits your body in a different way. I think I'm a deeply non-religious man, but that kind of thing is as close to spirituality as I get. I'm like, that feeling is irreplaceable and difficult to replicate in any other way. So, and I think that's really obvious if you look at, say, if you watch a film with a powerful moment, your brain is probably tricking you, I think, that the images are powerful. And the images are often very powerful. But I don't think there's many images without sound that can give you that chill. Really good writing can do it. Really good writing can do it. And really good art can do it. But I think the most powerful way is through some kind of music accompaniment in those moments. Go away and watch your favourite moments on film and see if it's really about the visuals or if it's a combination of the visuals and the music complementing it. So that's one motivation, kind of that. Trying to find that feeling in my own music. And I think that's the case for many musicians in some form, they want to pass on their own love of music in some way or other, right? And the other thing is just we all love to learn, and kind of life is too short to learn everything, so we end up learning or practicing one or two things. And, there was a time when I thought I might be like an archer, because I was quite a good archer when I was younger. So I was practicing that all the time. And I could have easily gone in that direction, I reckon. But I went in this direction, and I'm happy that I did, But we all just, eventually, we have to choose a path of some kind. And then once you've chosen a path, it's good to just, I think, for me, dedicate yourself to that path as much as you can. So I think that's just another reason why we do it, because we all have to do something with our life. And for those of us who've chosen to do music, we're very lucky if we can make it work, even if, it's not like it's a very stable living as a musician, even probably as a very successful musician, which, I'm not really. I'm kind of a moderately normal freelance musician who has to do loads of little things to stay afloat. So if you've chosen that life, why do that and also feel crap about yourself. You know, why do that and also feel like you're not living up to your own expectations? You might as well try and be the best musician that you can be, because why else be a musician? You know, push yourself and explore as much as you can, and try and experience as much music as you can. So I think that's another thing, like just kind of day-to-day practicalities, forcing you into music in a way and making the best of it in the most positive way. I mean that. And then there's the kind of the darker motivations, the proving that you're either good enough for someone, like good enough for someone else's opinion, or your own expectations of what a pianist should be able to do. And I think that's a really super toxic one, because there are so many unbelievable pianists out there. That's easy to get dissuaded if you are constantly comparing yourself. So it's also difficult not to get bitter, but I think with experience, it's easier to see the positives. So I don't really get bitter anymore about that stuff. But I used to when I was younger, and I used to think, like, why can he do this and I not do this, and blah, blah, blah. And like, I should be able to do that, or I should be able to do this, or I should have these opportunities, blah, blah, blah. But I think as time goes on, what I've started to do is think, wow, it's amazing. It's amazing that someone can do that. I'm going to try and learn to do it myself. If I really want to do something, or like learn to do something that someone else is doing, I'll try and figure out a way to add it to a practice routine, or to practice a piece, you know. And then that really solves the problem, because then you start practicing it, and you either gain a very deep appreciation for what the other person can do, because you realize just how many hours must have gone into learning that, or you learn it yourself, and then it's great, you know, because it's like, oh wow, you know, I never thought I could do that, or play it this way, or something. And if you do, then that's an amazing feeling. And it's normally a balance of both, and both are really good feelings, actually. If you push yourself as far as you can and you don't achieve what you want to achieve, it's lovely to kind of then reflect on other people's achievements, you know, and think, wow, like there are so many talented people out there who can do amazing things. And I think I'm in more of that headspace now than I've ever been, where I'm just happy for other people's musical journeys as well as my own. But I think when I don't practice constantly, and when I'm not pushing myself, it's very easy to fall into that bitterness trap where I'm like, maybe I'd practice more if I had more opportunities, or blah, 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 blah. But I think it's just like the wrong way around. You've just got to kind of find a way to motivate yourself and to do it in a positive way that doesn't involve your own high expectations, other people's expectations, or perceived expectations, because normally other people don't really judge you harshly unless you're in a very toxic environment. You know, if you're in a normal kind of place, then most people will be just happy for you and your music. You know, if you play the piano to someone, most people won't be like, they didn't play that very well, or they missed that B flat or something. Most people are just going to be really happy, including other musicians. I think good musicians, unless they're really kind of judgy on themselves or other people, will just be happy for other musicians and be excited to talk to them and to listen to them. So I think most of the expectation from the outside is a perceived expectation that is not necessarily true. That's how I see it anyway. And I think there's also this kind of desire to just be better than everyone else that it's easy to fall into the trap of. But again, it's neither here nor there whether you're better or worse than anyone else. All it tells, the thing is, we're all, in my eyes, basically equally capable of things, and we've just invested our time into different endeavors. And so if someone invests their time, including the time that they had no control over, from like the age of 3 or something, like a lot of these prodigies have, say their parents enroll them into some kind of music school from a very young age, then there's no reason to feel like you should try and be better than them. You know, you're fighting a battle that is one, pointless, because who are you going to kind of, why are you trying to prove that you can be better than someone else? And two is probably it's probably just kind of soul destroying, I think, at a certain point. Because there's always going to be new people who come along who are better than you as well. So I think just generally what I'm trying to say is try and find positive motivations for music, or at least that's what I try and do for me. I try and find positive motivations, and that is focused on personal development, how the music sounds, and the joy of learning and playing it for its own sake. And also the joy of being able to bring music to the people who I love and people who are close to me and communities around me too. I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I think that's all very positive motivation, and that's what keeps me so motivated to keep practicing. And practicing, is fun in itself, believe it or not. Like, playing scales is fun in the end. I promise, even if it feels like it's not the case. And I'll tell you why it's fun, because I've practiced scales now for God knows how many years since I started taking it. I mean, I didn't start taking piano really seriously until I was a teenager, like 16, 17, when I really started practicing scales. Up until then, I've been playing since I was about 9, but up until then I was kind of blagging the whole thing. So I'd be like, oh, C major. Like, oh yes, I can play it, even though my fingers are all over the place. But what's really kind of bringing me a lot of happiness now is that all the years now I've invested in playing scales deliberately without anyone breathing over my neck, mean that I can learn kind of new harmony stuff more easily. So this jazz stuff has actually been really nice to learn, because it's shown that if I take a key, probably won't be able to demonstrate a random key that I'd normally struggle with, like G flat. I can kind of see the patterns in that now. And that all the years of kind of learning harmony and learning scales and muscle memory shorten future journeys into music. I can apply things without having to think, oh, my fingers won't do what I want them to do. I kind of know where my limitations are with my playing, and I know what I know, and I know what I don't know, if that makes sense. Well, anyway, I have been rambling for quite a while now, but I just wanted to kind of come down and do some late night playing, and I guess soul bearing, which I might regret later. I mean, it's a bit bizarre, isn't it, when you think about it? Doing all this stuff in my room with no one here, and even if like just one or two people see it, it's like the idea of someone kind of listening in the corner of the room as I say all this is very bizarre, but that is what I'm kind of doing by making this a public video. It's very strange. Anyway, I have a super duper, I'll just wrap it up, but I have a super duper busy Christmas, so I'm kind of running on fumes at the moment. But making videos is really bringing me a lot of pleasure at the moment. And I don't think I'm ever happier than when I'm actually, practicing hard and learning stuff hard. And then I've got video evidence of it, so I can look back on and be proud of. I'm like, I didn't understand that a week ago, and now I do. Or, I couldn't play that a week ago, but now I can. And I feel like in many years to come, I can look back on this and be like, how... this is how I used to play, or this is what I used to believe, and, for better or worse, just look back and kind of remind myself where I was at this time in my life. If YouTube still exists, and if we haven't hit some kind of global apocalypse, which is always possible. Okay, I also am aware that I talk very fast, but I've been trying for years to change that, and I find it very difficult. But maybe I should start slowing my talking down so that people can understand it better. Anyway, I'm going to start. I'm a bit tired. I will see you another time.